Assistant Narrator Richardson here, and are you ready for an electrifying SCP? I am. Let's start. Item number SCP-4940. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Any containment area holding SCP-4940 instances is to be completely separated from any and all electrical grid or systems. No electronics of any kind are allowed within the containment area, or within 30 meters of the containment area itself. Any personnel entering the containment area are required to wear full A309-Mark II armoured hazmat handling and interaction suits. All personnel working in or around the containment area are to observe strict anti-static protocols as detailed in Handling Manual X022-E. Any conductive materials are to be monitored for change or alteration, in addition to anti-conductive and anti-static coatings whenever possible. SCP-4940 containment area is to be supplied with no less than 2 wooden poles per SCP-4940 instance. Ideally sourced from decommissioned but still viable commercial electrical cable poles. SCP-4940 instances will periodically move between provided poles. Instances will gather in groups of no more than 4 at times but show a preference for isolation when viable. Poles are to be maintained at a height of no less than 15 feet. SCP-4940 instances exhibit marked increases of aggression when less than 10 feet from the ground, with overall aggression escalating with a reduction in elevation. Injuries or damage resulting from SCP-4940 are to be investigated for foreign metal particles in the injury/damage site. Particles are to be collected and secured outside the primary containment site. Any personnel or equipment suffering electric shock, surge, or damage are to be investigated and quarantined for a period of no less than 1 week for observation. Any recording or broadcasting equipment that experiences interruption or disruption within 60 meters of SCP-4940 instances or recovered materials are to be secured and checked for surges or damage. Any recordings are to be secured, sealed, and transported to Central Records at the earliest possibility. No on-site review of said materials is to be allowed. Description: SCP-4940 outwardly appears to be a standard electrical transformer, common to most modern civic power grids. Closer observation will reveal that, while superficially similar, SCP-4940 lacks many markings and dimensions of actual electrical transformers. It has been observed that this disparity decreases the longer SCP-4940 stays in one place, with most taking at minimum 4 months to achieve near-perfect camouflage. SCP-4940 is only capable of mimicking other nearby transformers, and will often appear in time as an identical copy of another nearby, down to scratches and other markings. SCP-4940 is in reality an electrophagic and possibly electricity-based lifeform. When mobile, SCP-4940 breaks the outer camouflage shell, revealing a metallic body similar to the common sea louse in general outline, weighing between 22 to 68 kilograms. SCP-4940 lacks any internal organs or structures common to organic life, appearing to be an amalgamation of various conductive metals and alloys. It is unclear how this structure carries out motive action. SCP-4940 also carries a massive electrical charge, several times higher than the physical dimensions would be capable of supporting, and this is assumed to be related. It is also theorized that SCP-4940 may actually be the electrical charge, with the metallic form simply an anchor or tool for it to utilize. SCP-4940 will typically attempt to disguise itself as a normal electrical transformer. SCP-4940 will climb to a suitable position, then attempt to extend portions of itself into nearby electrical cables and systems. resembling wires or antennae. SCP-4940 appears to then feed on electricity, however, the exact details of this process are still poorly understood. SCP-4940, if undisturbed, can remain in this state for years at a time, totally immobile, which can make detection difficult. SCP-4940 will typically only move when physically contacted, if its previous perch has been damaged or altered, or when it enters the secondary feeding reproductive cycle. SCP-4940 is capable of defending itself with both physical attacks, typically slashing or stabbing with its metallic limbs, or releasing powerful focused electric shocks. SCP-4940 will typically attempt to electrocute a subject from a distance, then rapidly stab and slash the subject until dead. SCP-4940 will show special attention to the head and back. It is theorized it may feed off nerve impulses as well. SCP-4940 seems to exclusively exhibit this behavior with vertebrates. SCP-4940, while a very good climber, is either poor at or unwilling to tunnel unless absolutely necessary, preferring to enter internal areas through existing openings, such as doors, windows, or roof access points. SCP-4940 is much more aggressive when on the ground, and has been observed exhibiting disproportionate strength, capable of tearing a deadbolt door open. SCP-4940 is capable of rapid movement, the fastest observed keeping a pace of approximately 72 km per hour for brief sprints. SCP-4940 will typically exhibit these properties for a period of less than 20 minutes before attempting to return to a hiding location and growing lethargic. SCP-4940, when out of its camouflage state, shows a marked aversion to water, and appears to die when immersed for more than 5 minutes. Recovery/suppression teams are advised to secure water sources before action. And now we have the addendums. SCP-4940 Doc 6 Extended Behavior Notes. SCP-4940 appears to be territorial, but will at times cluster for unknown reasons. These clusters tend to be limited to a period between 2 weeks up to 6 months. Their behaviour does not seem to change any other noted behaviour. Aggressive SCP-4940 do not appear to work together, but will mutually attack targets if the opportunity arises. SCP-4940 will kill small animals from time to time, seemingly at random. These are almost always birds or rodents making physical contact with SCP-4940 while it is in its camouflage state. SCP-4940 will typically electrocute these animals, but sometimes will open up and crush them. SCP-4940 does not appear to feed on the tissues of these animals, and would often release the crushed bodies within 24 hours. Beyond possible feeding on electrical impulses, there is no observed reason for this behaviour beyond presumed territoriality. SCP-4940 appears to prefer outdoor environments, but shows no aversion to internal environments. High moisture content seems to be a deterrent when not in camouflage, but only large areas of open water seem to be an issue for SCP-4940. SCP-4940 Doc 12 Secondary Feeding/Reproductive Cycle. SCP-4940 will trigger a local blackout by overloading nearby electrical systems. This behaviour is most common after nightfall, but not exclusively. SCP-4940 will then break camouflage and will attempt to enter nearby structures, typically residences. SCP-4940 instances will then attempt to attack any vertebrate organisms inside, showing a preference for targets larger than their current weight and dimensions, as well as those isolated in rooms. With isolation seeming to be the more desirable preference, SCP-4940 will then shock and lacerate their targets to death, showing a preference for exposure of and damage to the nervous system. After a period of typically no more than 1 hour, SCP-4940 will attempt to exit the residences and return to their previous camouflaged positions. SCP-4940 will typically wait for a period of no less than 9 months after this behaviour to do so again. It is unclear as to why SCP-4940 does this. 2 possibilities are currently undergoing research. The first is that it's some sort of secondary feeding cycle, gaining something from the nervous system that it does not from regular electricity. The second is that this may be a reproductive cycle, as many of the small metallic grains found in targets of SCP-4940 exhibit identical properties to SCP-4940, while juvenile SCP-4940 have been found resembling much smaller SCP-4940 incapable of camouflage. None have been observed to manifest in containment or under observation. Research is ongoing. SCP-4940 Doc 61 Electric Life Theory Broadcast Notes CED-Rec 114 Approval System. Operating under the assumption that the body is just a glove for the electricity, we can begin to process the behaviours thus noted. This sort of action is not uncommon in even mundane species, with several breeds of wasps, spiders and beetles securing both nest and food for their young before spawning.
Data expunged.
The so-called broadcasts lend credence to the intelligent if alien life theory. Simply looking at hunting patterns and the ability of SCP-4940 to plan, isolate and even attempt to disguise its activities would be sufficient to come to this conclusion. However, on multiple occasions, SCP-4940 has shown what appear to be intelligent responses via broadcast, even attempting to frighten and distract targets via electrical devices in multiple
Data expunged.
While alarming, it is likely there are hundreds, if not thousands, of SCP-4940 instances at large. If a means of negotiation could be reached, the likely cost would be significantly less than their ongoing actions. Further research is pending, while current broadcasts incidents are under review. Right, this is Creepy Otter here. I'm cutting out Richardson here. He has nothing interesting to say anyway. I just want to say a few things before we're done with this video. My YouTube is kind of blowing up at the moment. It's unbelievable. I have a few people to thank for that. First person I would thank, and honestly the most important person in my life, is my wife. She's amazing. She's pushed me to do this, and I'll never look back. So thank you, my wife. Thank you so much. So secondly, there is a YouTube channel that got in touch with me when I first kind of started out, called SCP Unredacted. I did a collab with him a while ago, and honestly, he's a really cool guy. Check out his stuff. And yeah, it's just nice having these friends on this platform, really. So thank you, SCP Unredacted, if you're hearing this. Thirdly, Dr. Maxwell. I did a collab with them not long ago, and they're really nice. They're a really nice person. So go check them out as well. Really amazing channel. So if you're hearing this, Dr. Maxwell, thank you so much as well. And last but not least, NomadicArchives. I haven't done a collab with them yet, but they are also extremely nice, and they put a discussion on their channel saying they should come check me out if they want good SCP videos. So yeah, it's just amazing, you know, the amount of people in this community. They're all so nice. Oh, it's unbelievable. Like, I can't get my head around it. So thank you to everyone I just mentioned. You are the reason I do this channel, as well as the viewers. Now, you guys, you're amazing as well. You've been watching my videos quite a bit lately, and I just want to thank you so much. I didn't think I would get anywhere near this big. I know what I'm saying isn't really huge, since it's not, you know, not a lot of subscribers compared to a lot of other people, but for me it's huge. So coming from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Honestly, it's amazing. It's honest. I never thought I'd get to this point. So yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.